Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
All right. It's North London is ours. Different intro song. I'm trying to get our intro song from my brother. I haven't seen the months. Will, so I gotta get the intro song, but it's still the channel's still Tottenham away, and the show is still North London is ours. A very exciting ending to Champions League games, especially Villa versus PSG. We're gonna talk about that because now they know their opponent. Well, possible opponent. But we're going to talk about these games. Stefan, how are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good. Just a great Champions League night. I thought both games were pretty much done, but that's why the Champions League is the best competition there is. So yeah, just a really good night of football today.
Okay, yeah, and we're going to dive into it, jump into it. We'll definitely talk about the Arsenal game because they go first tomorrow versus Real Madrid, and then we'll talk about our game of the year also going into Frankfurt, and we will be, of course, very honest with our opinions. I would just say this. I got a good laugh earlier today watching a show, and I say this all the time. It is an honor and it's great to be on a channel that will be honest about our opinions and and honest about our team that we love. And so, and if people don't like the honesty and they think it's toxic, then you can freely go watch another channel and get all the unicorns, fart, skittles, and type of whatever talk. But we will always be honest. Just a big up to a couple of people who are already here. Rich, big up. Stelios is not here yet. He may jump on. Big up, Sporting Journey. Good evening. Big up to Spurs fans. Next season roll on. It's Stefan. See ya. I'm off. And then Mr. Post Office, big support of the channel. Got to get through tomorrow. PSG, don't scare me. We will talk about that in the background. Villa would have been interesting. That being a fellow Premier League brother. So, as I get the banner out, huge European games. Stefan. So, I've been seeing the last couple of days, and clearly, you guys are in the catbird seat right now. It is two philosophies. We can continue to be aggressive, or you guys can continue to be aggressive, or park the freaking bus, as my best friend, who is an Arsenal supporter, he said, park the bus, park the bus, park the bus. Here's the problem. Well, it's not a problem, but here's a possibility. As you know, for Real Madrid, and I looked at a lot of the games where they've come back, and sometimes they be crashing the box. They'll be crashing the box, trying to get one dirty goal, one maybe own goal. Earlier today, Bellingham's remontada, which means basically, so Madrid, rightly so, they have this mystique, they have this magical powers, and we've seen it before. But doesn't always win, right? It doesn't in their history, because then we'll have more Champions Leagues. So they have 15. So,
Yeah.
you as Arsenal fan going in, how you're
I mean,
feeling about this game, and what
mhm.
what setup is Arteta going to do tomorrow?
I think Arteta should watch these games tonight. Take and take umbrage from both games. I think both teams. I thought PSG started really well, but they really took their foot off the gas, thinking that the game is over, and they made that mistake, and they almost lost. They almost lost. They should have lost the game today because Villa battered them, especially in the second half. Dortmund also just absolutely. I watched the first half. How Dortmund were not 2 or 3 nil up in the first half. If it wasn't for the former Arsenal great Chesney, Barca would have been, in my opinion, in big trouble, especially at that stadium. So I think Arsenal needs to take lessons from today. However, the comforting factor is, although it is Real Madrid, it's kind of hilarious. It's been over a year and a half since Arsenal conceded 3 goals in a game in any competition. Mari, do you want to guess which team we conceded 3 goals against? I'll be very impressed if you know. I think Connor
What a
knows.
game, brother! What a game, though! What a game!
Yeah, I think Connor knows, but it's been in all competitions.
The last team you could see 3 goals in all competitions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a scary risk. Was it when we beat y'all 3-0?
No, no, no.
No,
It's
no,
not.
no,
It's
that
not a
was
top six side, Mark. It's not a
that's
top
over.
six side.
That's more than
It's
2
not a
years.
top six side.
No, 2 years.
It's not a top 6 side. A little hint. It's not a top 6 side from last year.
Villa.
No. I'll tell you. Luton.
Luton fucking town.
Yeah, Luton
Remember the
down. We
4-3, Mari?
conceded 3 goals.
Protecting Rice last
Wow,
minute.
Luton Town. Wow, I would
Yeah.
have gotten that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won that game. Raya probably definitely had his worst.
Yeah, that was his worst game in an Arsenal shirt.
In an
100%.
Arsenal game, we literally conceded 2 goals because of his direct mistakes. But that's the last time Arsenal, and I mean our record in Europe is, if you read our defensive record in Europe, it's ridiculous. Like, we concede two. I read on average since last year to this year, we've conceded 2.6 shots on target per game. Like, some of the defensive metrics are ridiculous. Of course, we shouldn't let that go to our head. We're playing Real Madrid, and if there's one team that can go against kind of the record and what is typical, is Real Madrid. However, Arsenal, I think after the first game, that psychological kind of, oh, it's Real Madrid, I think it really should be worn off. We completely dominated them the whole game. So I honestly don't think Arsenal should go into this game with any fear. In my opinion, we should just play our own game and try and just play smart. Don't go all out attack, defend well, and but also don't sit deep for the whole game. It will be a really difficult game to manage. I'll be very intrigued what tactic we. For just the final thing, for me, the most important thing is to kill time in the first 15-20 minutes. The most important thing is not to concede in the first 15-20 minutes. If we don't concede in the first 15-20 minutes, I think Real Madrid will lose belief. I really do. If we do concede, then it's going to be a long night in the first 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with you. The first 15 minutes, I think, is the most important in the game, because it's also psychological. Oh no, they scored. But
Yeah.
the longer the score is 0-0, right? 0-0, the better for you guys. Connor, I know you just came in. Strategy coming in. Know the mystique of the Bernabeu. They're going to be fighting. They have been talking the last couple of days. We're not going to give up. They're probably watching every Rocky motivational video. And what Arteta has to do to prepare Arsenal to hang on to this 3-0 lead. Does he pump the bus? Do they be aggressive? What are your thoughts?
Big up to everyone first and foremost. Everyone's well. Big up to yourself, Mari, as well. Thanks for having me on. I'll tear her out. Keep it real. No, I'm joking. Well, not yet. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Now, listen. Well, my first thoughts on the first match, I think that shut up people like me for a whole night. That's for sure. that kept me quiet. It was a fantastic night, and definitely a night that will be remembered for a long time. I just don't want it to be ruined by the second leg. I want us to go through into this semi-final, and I've seen, I've read all the stats, I've read all the percentages. We have to win this. There's no way we don't go through. We have to go through. There's no way you can be. And listen, I know everyone says like if it's one team, it will be Real Madrid to come back 3-3. I get that, but it's like, and like Stefan said, it's very much true. Our defensive record is insane. And I don't like to think, even against Real Madrid, who have actually been extremely poor this season, have been very, very poor. Defense, they've been very, very poor. I like to think we can actually get the job done. I was extremely impressed by how our team acted on last week. When I saw our lineup, I thought it was going to be the tactics of, I saw Marino up front. I thought we're going to be lobbing in balls, but we didn't do that. We adapted to a way that Real Madrid just couldn't handle us at all. We took advantage of David Alaba, who got absolutely spun. Valverde gave Martinelli a good game, but Martinelli still had his opportunities. We used the wing backs and the fullbacks, and our wingers perfectly. That was the strategy, and it worked. How I'm expecting us to go into this match, I don't know. I like to think. I think ideally Arsenal need a goal. I think if you really want to solidify win, you need to have at least one. And I can't see Madrid making it 4-1. I can't. I could see Madrid maybe winning it, but maybe like a 2-1. And I think if we score, especially if we score first, we just sit back all game. Don't just unless you want to go for it. I don't know. Maybe you want to make them even more embarrassed.
And we've only conceded, if you look at it, the 3 goals that we've conceded.
Yeah, it was Luton.
2 of them, no, the 3 goals in the Champions League.
Oh, yeah,
2 of them were pens. We've only conceded 1 goal from open play. Sorry, and then we've conceded. If we add the PSV goals, my bad, I forgot about PSV. They also scored, but those 2 goals were in a pretty much a nothing game. But
let me throw in something there, Connor and Steph. That defensive record, right, and respect to this player. People can say Gabriel was there, and don't Ward was okay. Last week.
Really good against Real Madrid. Really good.
Is it still now? Because now he's gonna be on the road. If Gabriel was there, I'm basically saying, I can't see Madrid even with the mystique, but with Ward there, is that he sees weak link?
They said this when we went away to Everton, one of the most physical teams. Kivior finished man of the match in that game, and we should have won that game if it wasn't for another ridiculous penalty, decision from the ref. But Kivior has the difference that you say. Although Gabriel is, of course, by far the better defender, Kivior on the ball is much better.
Unbeaten the last 19 games.
Yeah, Kivior in the last 19 games has 9 or 10 clean sheets, if I'm not mistaken, 13 wins and 6 draws. Like people, I'm not saying Kivior is a world-class defender, but he's far better than people give him credit for. And people also forget the run that we had last season. At the latter end of the season, Kivior played in every single game, but because he had a rough game, which all of our defense did against Bayern Munich, Saliba and Gabriel were also poor in that game. They gave him, and he played a left back. So for me, I thought against Real Madrid, he was really good. I thought against Brentford, he was really solid. I didn't make one mistake. The only difference I would say, where I would argue with you, Mari, is the fact that when Kivior plays, our build-up play, because Kivior is far better on the ball than Gabriel, is better. So we build up better, and we're able to control the ball a bit better.
Big time. That is true. Real Madrid will press big time. So
Kivior is better. No, but not only that, his cross-field passing, his long-range passing is really good. So he's able to switch play quite quickly. Gabriel has improved that, but Kivior he's just got a better left foot than Gabriel. So let's see.
But let's keep obviously listen. Let's keep it honest and real. We'd all prefer to have Gabriel there.
Of course, no. Of
I've
course.
got to give credit
Gabriel's
to
a very
Kivior.
defender, but the thing that I get annoyed is that because of one bad game against Bayern Munich, he's suddenly rubbish. Like people forget that he was really that run up when he played left back. All those games that we won, he played all of those games, and he was very good in pretty much all of them. So I think he's a very good footballer, kind of like Ben White. I've always liked Kivior. If somebody offers good money for him in the summer, would I sell him? I don't know, probably. But
Of course we would. Come on, I think we're linked to that.
But somebody has to offer me good money, Connor. Not fucking.
No, that's fair. Listen, I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear, right?
Okay.
I want to make it clear that Kivior.
We'll go to the next Tesla.
He majorly surprised me because I was in the same boat as a lot of people. Gabriel was out. Like Kivior, it's different wavelengths, isn't it? But the way he acted, I mean, apart from that first minute when he had that little slip up with Mbappe, I thought, oh fuck, it's going to be a long day. But no, then he stepped up and he stepped up to the plate. The only thing, I'm going to be interested with how the players react to this crowd because it has been seen before from Arsenal players that we won't concede as many goals, but we do seem to become a shell of ourselves in really big atmospheres. I like to think that the players will be ready. As much as let Madrid do their PR shit, let them do all that. Oh, we're this, we're that. Let them do that. If you were all that, you would have turned up in the first leg. Let's keep it honest and real. Like if you were really ready for everything, you should have been there for the first leg and you weren't. You didn't score. You had 3 shots.
Have you seen this amount? I know I'm being biased because I've followed Real Madrid more, but have you ever seen such a build-up to a game? I've never seen so many comments about a comeback or
Yeah, what stuff, the fucking eyebrow raise and all that.
And it could be a big deflator, like nothing happens, or it could be a big motivator. I mean, like seriously, I'm seeing some like we got this. We're gonna come back. We're gonna fight, and so I'm thinking, okay, Arsenal, their players have to really have some thick skin, and especially in the first 15 minutes, they cannot concede a goal because that's when it's like, uh-oh. I think teams like maybe like Barcelona, because they've been there, Clasico, right? They're like, all right, whatever. Yeah. But with Arsenal, right, this is now a growth. This is a game of huge growth for their mentality, right? You've seen the game where they beat City, right? It was huge. And then the very next couple of games, it was just like, wow. So this is in the 5 years that Arteta has been there, this is the biggest mentality game, changer game for Arsenal. And so it's going to be huge that those first 15 minutes, the game will be won, honestly, the first 15, 20 minutes, barring a red card or something huge happens. But let's go to Tottenham.
Okay.
Tottenham, fellow Spurs brother, big up. Good to have you as a neutral, because we're watching tomorrow's game as neutrals. What's your thinking tomorrow? Arsenal versus Madrid.
Okay. So you guys can hear me, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I want to say is, Connor, chill. Up until that game. Wait. Until that game.
It was crazy, bro. I've never liked this. I've never liked this.
Just listen, yeah? Up until that game, Rice hadn't scored any free kick in his career. He scored 2 free kicks in that game. What are the odds? Okay, you guys played better than them, but like Rice scoring 2 free kicks. I don't want to call it an absolute fluke, but it was an absolute fluke.
No, you can't.
That's the first thing. I'm not saying wait.
We should have scored. Sorry.
Yes, you should have. But the thing is, you guys didn't have a striker. That's why you couldn't score goals, because Saka was putting balls through and nobody was getting on the end of them. I get it. And then the Marino goal was a good goal. I get it. Okay, Fine. Let's even remove all that. You guys scored 3. It doesn't matter if it was an absolute fluke. It doesn't matter. The thing is, I feel like it's possible. It's very possible for Arsenal to go there and win. But I feel like a lot of people are looking at this like, oh, yeah, Madrid is going to do it, knowing deep down that it's possible for Arsenal to win just so they can mock Madrid. Now, let me remind you people. Do you remember the last time that Tottenham beat Arsenal? Mari, do you remember when we beat Arsenal? It was under Conte.
Was it
absolutely destroyed them?
Yeah, Conte was
Yes.
still close. We won
for 4.
When
Exactly.
we got a red card and we had Rob Holding and Cedric Suarez in the
Would you let me speak?
Okay.
Would you let me speak? Thank you. Okay. So yeah, the exact same thing. I'm not going to say the exact same thing, but yeah, you had Rob Holding. Now, like Mari said, if you guys had what's his brother's name? Gabriel in defense, it will be different. I'm not going to say that Kiwior is not a decent defender, but he hasn't exactly played in like the big games.
He just played in one.
And
he won 3-0.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And this Madrid team, you have to look at it from this perspective. It's not Brentford. It is Real Madrid with players all over the pitch that each of them can win a game on their own. This is a Madrid team at the Bernabeu with nothing to lose. I don't think you get it. If you guys, the worst thing you can do at the Bernabeu is to go back and sit in a low block and try to counter. Because I don't think that Kiwior will be able to play 90 minutes at the Bernabeu under pressure from those attackers. Do you get what I'm saying? These are players with quality all over the pitch. This is not Brentford. This is not Mbuemo. This is not Wissa. This is Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Valverde. I get it, but all I'm going to say is this is a team with nothing to lose. I get it that they look like an injured animal, and this is what always happens. Everybody always looks at Madrid like, oh yes,
they kind of do, because apart from this, unless Barcelona bottle the league, they're not going to win anything this season. So this kind of does mean something for them in a sense.
No, it's Real Madrid. You know their fans. If they lose and go out, they're going to boo them.
Of course they are, but because they know they're probably not going to win anything else this season. So I think
no matter what.
Well, to be fair, it's 4 points between both of them.
Yeah, I guess.
So you don't think that there's still a title race?
Is it 4 points?
I just checked it.
I thought it was 7. No.
Yeah, it's 4.
I will say this, and big up CJ AFC. I could get a good laugh.
Game's done, CJ. Game's done.
He says, "What if Arsenal scores first?"
Game's done. Game's done.
I'm gonna say
if Arsenal score first, they've won.
They need to score. I don't want to say they need, but for their benefit, scoring first will kill the tie. It will definitely kill the tie. But also CJ too. Though, if I'm a betting man, 3-0, I think it's a bit too much to overcome. I also believe, man, this is Real Madrid. They have
nothing to lose. They're going there all guns blazing.
Guys, we need to stop. We need to stop talking, and this pisses me off. Yes, this is Real Madrid. They were when nobody gave Arsenal any sort of chance when they came to the Emirates and said they're gonna beat us. Arsenal should have beaten them 4-5-0. Real Madrid, for the first time in a long time, I've seen him look completely bereft of any ideas. Camavinga got a red card in the end because he was so frustrated at the fact that they couldn't. In the second half, I don't think they had a shot on target. I really don't remember them having David Raya making one save.
Yeah.
And when you're saying Rodrigo and Vinicius, I'll say we have Yuri and Timber. We have Saliba. Yuri and Timber, I do not remember one winger played against Yuri and Timber this season, including Vinicius, who he completely dominated and nullified in that game. I cannot remember one winger that has made Yuri and Timber look bad.
I will say this.
Stefan, we're not talking about Timber, though. We're talking about Kiwior. It's the fact that Gabriel is...
But Kiwior dominated Mbappe in this, I don't know if you noticed in the
Yes,
second
it's
half.
about that center back position. It's
I
Kiwior. If it was Gabriel, the tie is
Okay,
over.
I will say this
Desmond,
though.
But,
To
but
Arsenal,
Kiwior, wait, Mark. But Kiwior, Mbappe got so frustrated in the second half. He kept trying to play on Kiwior's side, but Kiwior, what people don't realize is Kiwior is actually faster than Saliba. Kiwior is very quick. He's the quickest player. Supposedly, he beat Walcott's sprint record, which to this day I cannot
Excuse
believe
me?
that. Yeah,
When
yeah.
was that?
He
When
beat
was that
all of
actually?
his athletic records. I can't believe it too, Connor. But
I never heard about that.
supposedly,
question
all
is,
of the press
is
were saying
has
this, that
to
he
be-
beat all of his, like the long jump record. Okay, but forget that. Mbappe got so frustrated in that game in the second half that he switched on the right side when they thought they could target Kiwior to the left by the end of the last 10, 15 minutes to try play against Saliba. So
two
for
things.
me, it's the Bernabeu. Of course, it's going to be a different game from the Emirates, but when I hear this shit, I hope the players don't think it, because these players just dominated Real Madrid. So they should go and say, we've proven that we can play, we can compete against them and be better than them.
Just do it on a different pitch.
Well, here's the two things. Here's the two things, right? Number one, is he faster than BDP. That's number one. The second thing, the huge thing, and like I said, it's going to be a tall order. Real Madrid is going to fight. And like I said, if I'm a betting man, I'm seeing Arsenal, go through. But Real Madrid will fight. But here's the thing. They're going to be fighting without Camavinga. That is going to be tough. Because I know we had an argument back and forth. In that first half, right? Second half, he tailed off. That first half, I thought Camavinga was at midfield. I thought he was like, it was 0-0, right? It was 0-0 at halftime. I thought the best player on that field before Declan Rice, rightly so, Declan Rice, props to him. He got my respect, in that game. I thought Camavinga was the best.
I can't believe you said Partey had an okay game. Partey was ridiculous in that game.
Okay. Partey was good.
Partey was the best player. If it wasn't for Declan Rice's free kicks that made him the man of the match, Partey was easy. Partey dominated that midfield.
Before those free kicks came in, I thought Camavinga was the best player on that field. I was like, damn, he's giving Arsenal problems. Crossing that midfield, but they're going to miss him. Now I know they get Tuchamendi back, but don't get it twisted. Tuchamendi is not
as good. He's not as good defensively.
Not as good as Camavinga. I think Camavinga he's there. When you talk about midfielders in the world, he's there. Tuchamendi is like just a bit below. And so they get him back, but he is not Camavinga. That he is not, and so. That's a huge loss for Real Madrid. They're going to have to come back.
Well, John, Maury, I've heard all this stuff about how Danny Ceballos is about to change.
That's the funniest shit I've been reading.
I'm seeing tweets that he took pictures of our tactics 3 years ago, and that's all of a sudden going to help Real Madrid. He did the thing with Marca or Marcha, however you pronounce it.
I've never seen the Real Madrid press and players be so rattled.
It's because they're not used to stuff like this, and especially, I mean, Stefan. I don't think even the most positive of Arsenal fans could have even predicted what happened.
No, I said 2-1. I said 2-1 to Arsenal, but not in the way we Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid are.
I'm really tempted, Stefan,
and the heritage that they have in this competition. They've been really poor, especially defensively this season.
Can I be honest with you, Stefan? I'm really tempted to change it up a bit. Well, not just by one change. I'm really tempted to play Trossard up front.
Oh no, fuck, man! I can't stand Trossard. I'm going to pull you now.
Because we're not going to have. No, listen to me. Because we're not going to have much possession of the ball. So
and he loses the ball the most. So you want.
I'm thinking counter-attack FC. Just defend.
He can't run, Connor. He can't run. He can't do that.
I don't know.
Connor, you guys would have the ball. You would have the ball.
Better when you've got possession.
Madrid will give you the ball.
I would play if we're going to do it like this. If we're gonna do real counterattack,
do not say Sterling. Do not say Sterling.
No, not Sterling. Play Martinelli through the middle for the running, and play Trossard in his preferred position on the left.
That's what I meant. I was gonna swap Trossard with Marino and then have him.
You're gonna.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Okay,
I just I like Marino. Listen, Marino's really changed my opinion on him. Not as a midfielder,
so
more as a false nine. I don't really like it. I'm done with this whole midfield. I think he's better as a false nine. But in my eyes and opinion, just for this kind of game, I think we just need a sort of sit back and counter. Give them a bit of what their medicine was at the Emirates last week. You know, just give them a bit of that. But we're 3 goals up. I mean, if we dare I say get knocked out, we're fucked. We are more fucked than we've ever been before.
I was gonna post to Stel. He came in.
Yeah.
Stel, if Arsenal bottle this tie, what is going to happen? I already know what's going to happen across YouTube, across the UK. If Arsenal does not seal the deal tomorrow, what is going to happen? I posed that question to Stel.
I really like.
He's gonna be spamming WhatsApp.
First of all, they're not going to. They're going to go through. I think Arsenal have done it. I'd be surprised if Arsenal don't get at least 1 goal. And I don't think Real Madrid are good enough, man. I think they're not. They've got heritage. They've got home advantage. But let's not forget, Spurs beat Real Madrid at 3-1 at Wembley.
In the groups, still not in the knockout rounds. In the groups,
They went on to win the Champions League that year.
yes, in the fucking groups where there's not that much pressure. Like, are you guys seriously? Liverpool beat Real Madrid in the
I literally spoke for 5 seconds. That was it. I just spoke for 5 seconds, and he jumps in. I didn't even look. Real Madrid have got heritage, and they've got history, and you can't ever write them off. They're like Liverpool at Anfield. Never write them off. That's what makes them great. But this Real Madrid reminds me of when Spurs beat Real Madrid. Real Madrid were there for the taking when we played them. They weren't that elite Madrid, and I don't think they're elite right now. I don't think they're that amazing Galacticos. I think Arsenal will go through. Maybe Real Madrid win it 2-1, maybe even 3-1. Maybe it's a draw. Arsenal will go through. I think they did the damage in the first leg. I think it's very difficult for Real Madrid to come back from that because Arsenal can defend, you see. They know how to defend. They're going to make it so difficult for Real Madrid.
Can Romero defend still? Remember
can Saliba and Gabriel win trophies?
World Cup. Here we go. There's that one out of there.
Oh, sorry, you don't like the answer. Sorry, you got no comeback. You tried to trigger me, and I triggered you.
Won the World Cup. What are you?
He's won nothing. I'll say to you.
By the way, wait before he bullshits. Saliba won the French Cup with Saint Etienne. And Gabriel
will win the World Cup at one point. France will win it again.
So yes, they can win. They can. Win.
Okay, so let's see it Arsenal until they.
But Romero won a World Cup. What has Romero won then? What has Romero won at Spurs?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same as Gabriel and Saliba. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. Okay, well, 5 years bottle jobs. They're part of the bottle jobs, right? I try to give Arsenal some credit here and say they've done the hard work. They're going to go through.
That's true.
And even when you're positive, they get triggered this way. They're right. They're different. They're not different. Okay? I think you'll go through. For me, the damage was done in the first half. You deserve to beat them as well. Your goals were outstanding. Although Real Madrid, they had a patch where they should have scored and they didn't. But look, for me, you're through.
One chance.
For me, you're through. But to answer Murray's question, if Arsenal don't go through, you know, every time you bottle it or choke, we say, God help you. This time, God help you. God help you. It will be the mothership of Arteta. Listen,
Stefan's gone for months. He'll be gone for months.
Lee Gunner will be
10-month hiatus, bro.
Arteta must be sacked that night if you don't win
100%.
Yeah. And
he has to because.
And who should
where do you go from? Where do you go from here? But I think you're through.
Yeah, that's not one of the worst. You
can fucking have Ange. You can fucking have it.
Well, I have a question.
What a shock!
I have a question for you.
Who the fuck told you this a year and a half ago that he was?
I've been saying Ange out since July, man. I'm on board with you. 10 months. I've been agreeing with you. What do you want?
I will say this. Wait. And I will say this.
I agree. You called it. You're right.
Well, I have a question for you.
I will say this. for that certain person that says, "Oh, we're a cult. We follow the leader. We're brain dead. We follow." I was technically the first Ange out on this channel.
No, fuck off, Mari. It
I
was
was.
me. No, fuck off.
I'm talking about between the five of us, because Will definitely wasn't.
Oh my God, Will, go have a look at the previous streams.
Stell did the video with Will after the Chelsea.
Where, after the loss at Chelsea,
and Will knows. He came at me and said, "Oh, you're doubting Ange already?" I'm like, yeah, I don't know about him. Iggy, until recently, I think finally said,
no. Iggy started turning at the same time as Stell, pretty much. When he saw the defense.
No. Iggy was still defending Ange this year, man. Iggy's not
really.
Iggy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Iggy's the last one because JP said it before. I'll send you the link, Michael. He said it before. JP said it before. Iggy. So technically, oh, thank you. You sent me the link. So technically, I was the first one. So for that certain hippie, I didn't follow anybody. I had my own views. Stefan, remember, I was like, you know what?
No, that's true. Mari was the first one that when I kept telling Mari that this is not sustainable, that all the shots that you concede and the amount of and how open you are this over a long period of time, especially with with a game every 3 days with Europe, Mari was like, I'm looking at the metrics and everything.
That Chelsea
was
game,
like, yeah.
That Chelsea game changed me. I was like, nah, I don't like that type of football.
Sorry, I'm coming. I'll be back.
Okay. That Chelsea game changed me. I was like,
No.
I don't think this is going to work out.
But the worst comment, and that comment should be a graveyard for YouTube, has to be Connor's comment about Ange.
This guy, why do you keep bringing this up like it's some sort of fucking like?
No, Connor, I'll never forgive you for that. I'll keep reminding you. That comment of him wishing that Arsenal had Ange instead of Mikel Arteta.
Do you want to add the hindsight why I said that, or do you just want to just say that statement without anything behind it?
No, I don't care, Connor, why you said it. Okay, it was the worst comment ever said on YouTube.
Because at the time, Spurs were on a very good run.
I don't give a shit, Connor.
We were in 2 to 3 years of shit, and I was just like, I'm done with this guy. At the time,
2 years of shit. We had finished second the previous season before that. What do you want about?
At the time, and I saw Ange doing. What was it, 10 games going? He was on a good run. And I thought, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Give me Ange. And now all of a sudden,
that's become say that.
Like a philosophical
thing. Don't downplay it. Don't act like you said it just like a casual.
That's my gaffer. Why are you talking down on my gaffer? Only he
does. I wish we had Ange as a coach. I said it. I wish we have Ange as a coach.
Still, we're not talking about bottom half of the table here. We're talking about the big stuff here, Champions League. I don't know why we're moving on.
Stefan. Look at the video. It says 1 year ago. I went on We Are Tottenham TV back in March last year.
Are you the camera trailer?
Oh, wait, hold on. 1 minute. Let me remove that little banner so you can see, right? If this happens, I'm Ange out. And I said, if we sign Werner again, I'm Ange out. The day we signed Werner, I went on We Are Tottenham TV and I went militant.
So
I said, he's got to go.
So that was
we signed in beginning of June. I went on. I said, he's. So I've been on this train since that day. And on that video, I even said, this is the catalyst of an appalling transfer window that's about to come. Ignore all that we're going to get Eze, Tony, all this shit. We're going to get a bunch of donkeys and the wheels are going to come off at some point this season. The video's there. Go watch it. Literally everything I said.
I agree. Stel, I'm joking. You turned, but Still, again, your reasoning.
I wanted to give Ange a season because he was the first manager to come to Spurs in the last 8-9 years with no Harry Kane. And I thought, let's give him a season. Just give him that 1 year to suss it out. And we got fifth. I thought, you know what? Fair enough. It's a slight improvement. But as soon as we signed Werner, I'm like, here we go. And, you know, These are my players. This is what I want. I thought, forget it, we're done. This guy's clueless. He's another yes man.
I watched you against when the Chelsea game happened, and I just thought. I mean, even the Wolves game was just a shocking.
No. For me, the worst was him cupping his ears to the fans, and then the Spursiest thing ever. The Spursiest thing ever was that they disallowed the goal also, so he looked like an even bigger prick.
Why'd you cup your ears to your own fan? Like you're just
like not even Granit Xhaka.
On the spot.
Why do you do that? You're asking to be disliked by your fan base. But also, can you actually say that? Are you not blaming Ange for the 4-2 loss, by the way? Are you blaming Ange for that? Because that was individual player errors. If you really think about it, your game against
Connor, hold on a minute. There's all of our players are out of position,
but
constantly.
Connor, you got to understand how the Spurs.
Yeah, but Pape Sarr gives away a dangerous free kick in the first minute. Like, what's he doing?
Yeah, he had
Connor, do you see how the Spurs sphere works? It depends on which player. If it's players that they rate, like Christian Romero or Vicario.
No, Romero fucked up as well, and Vicario. They're both fucked up.
I've noticed this. If it's players like Ben Davis or Bissouma now, for example, people realize he's shit. Something I said also before everybody.
I don't think he's shit, man.
Still, he's horrendous. He's terrible.
He's not. He's being played out of position. Don't do that. He's being played out of position. Don't do that.
Okay, so he cannot read a game of football or pass the ball like a normal player.
Bissouma is
played out of position.
He's a number 8. He has always been a number 8. The only time he started playing 6 was at Spurs. He's not a 6.
Okay.
Are you not predicting 17th? Are you not predicting 17th, by the way? Because that obviously is a possibility.
No.
Yes, we are going to get 17th. We are going to get 17th. We're going to be.
I remember. Mari, what were our predictions? Mari predicted Spurs 7th. I predicted them 9th, I think, or 8th. I was the lowest out of the predictions.
Yeah, because West Ham will beat Southampton. I think you go down 16th this weekend.
Connor, we are going to finish 17th in the league. We're not beating Palace. We're not beating Liverpool. We're not beating Villa. We're not going to beat Forest.
You're not going to finish 17th, Sal. You're not going to finish 17th, and I'll tell you why. You're going to lose to Frankfurt. They're going to sack him, and you maybe pick up.
Ryan Mason.
Okay, yeah. All right. If we sack it. No. Do you know what? I think they'll keep Ange to the end of the season. I think they'll keep him to the end.
No chance.
There won't be one fan.
Let's not talk about Spurs. Let's continue finishing Arsenal.
Thank you, Mari. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I've been trying to run away from Spurs. I've been trying to stay away.
I'll get to Spurs.
I've been trying.
No, we've got to cook Spurs tonight.
But Michael,
we cook ourselves.
Do you believe in miracles, the mystique of the Bernabeu? Does Real Madrid come back, especially if they score the first 15 minutes? Do they come back? And does Arsenal perform the biggest battle job probably in our lifetime?
Since last year.
No.
Go ahead.
No. Listen, guys, Arsenal haven't conceded 3 goals in over 18 months or something, right? As much as I think they will lose the game, they won't lose by 3 goals. So I think it might finish like 1-0 to Real, 2-0, 2-1, something like that. But they are not losing by 3 goals. There is no chance in hell it happens. And I genuinely mean that, right? As much as I would love to see that, and if it happens, Lord have mercy, right? But it won't. So again, my opinion is they will go through. It's 3 goals are 3 goals is too much considering how defensively set up they are. I mean Arsenal, how defensively set up they are, and that's also assuming that they won't catch Real on a counter, right? Because you will probably go there and low block it, but all it takes is 1 goal. Like if you score 1 goal off a counter and the tie is done, right? Because as I said, you haven't conceded 3 goals in over 18 months, so you aren't definitely conceding 4, right? That's the way I look at it. So yeah, for me, I don't think there is a chance you guys don't go through to the semis. But also I wanted to say something about Bissouma, right? For me, Bissouma is done. We should sell him. But I also don't really understand the like the discussions between like, is he a 6, is he an 8, or is he whatever, right? Guys, our three midfielders literally don't have defined roles, and Ange said it himself, right? We don't play with a 6, we don't play with an 8, we don't play with a 10, we play with 24s, right? If you sum up 6, 8, and 10, it's 24, right? We play with 24s on the pitch because they do all three roles, which is why the midfield looks so horrendous, right? For me, it's not about the players. For me, it's about the manager and the way he sets up that midfield. And as much as we can debate whether Bissouma is good enough or not, for me, he's not. But I also say it in a way that I don't think any player under this manager works unless they show like great individual performance, which some of them do. But yeah, that's the way I look at it, right?
And we'll get back to Spurs. I just thought about
Wait, guys.
I was saying the key
comment of the stream. Comment of the stream, Mari. Dan Kiriakou. Arsenal haven't conceded 3 goals in a game in over 18 months. Tottenham conceded at least 3 goals every other game in 10 months.
No, I was gonna say this.
Can we not talk about Tottenham?
It's called North London as ours, Tesla. We're talking about both teams here.
We'll get there. I will say this, and this could possibly help Real Madrid. And here's the thing: I mentioned Kiro maybe being the weakest link. I take that back. If he starts Lewis Skelly, who has the tendency to have a hot head and get a red card in him, if I'm Real Madrid, I'm trying to wind this kid up. And if I'm Arsenal, I'm telling this kid to keep a level head the whole game. Because if he does something that can get his butt out the game, it's a lose whole game. And I'm not joking about it. Seriously, if I'm Arsenal, I'm like, Lewis Skelly.
Mari, stop coping.
Skelly, I mean, look.
Stop coping. Stop coping.
I can't even. Skelly is I think Skelly.
If Arteta was really shameless, he'd play Kieran Tierney as left.
I was going to say that, I was going to say that. But you know what? I'm curious. Kieran Tierney is the last guy I want because, Mari, if you look at it, I mean, if that was the case and we want to switch it out,
what do you mean he's the last guy? He'd be perfect. We defend all game. They wouldn't be able to run past us once with him.
I see more. I don't know. Kieran Tierney's a bit of a tricky one. I mean, plus he doesn't have many minutes in his belt, but I see him more of as an attacking fullback than a defensive.
No, he can be as an attacking fullback, but he'll have the legs to always track back. That's my point.
I think Skelly is just. I think Skelly's another level. Skelly is another level, man. What he done and what he's been doing in these last couple months is just ridiculous. And I think even rival fans can admit that this guy is something special. And
he is also a fucking rat, but
is he? Is he actually? Was he?
He's a hothead. Oh, he's good. He's a red card waiting to happen.
No. Listen. But that's what happens when you've got. He's young, isn't it? He's learning. But I like to think
I'm saying it like in a better way, right?
I was going to say, I was like, fuck, he's never a fucking Spurs. And then, well, wouldn't blame if he left. No, Maury, listen. Do you know what? If Real Madrid are smart about it, I mean, the fact that they didn't utilize Rodrigo that much in the first leg was quite surprising. But it was more to the fact that Lewis Skelly had it locked up anyway. But I'm seeing the comments earlier. Vinny hat-trick. Let's not take the piss here.
But this has been terrible. He has scored
a lot. The last couple of months, he's been awful.
No. Let's not. First of all, let's not take the piss, and let's give some respect to Jurrien Timber, who has been probably our best. Actually, yeah, he should be. He for me has been our most consistent defender this year. Jurrien Timber has been ridiculous. Nobody talks. Everybody talks about.
Did you see the stat, Stefan? Did you see the stat? Since the start of their Real Madrid careers, and I think it was Champions League, Vinny and Rodrigo hadn't made one dribble pass for the first time because I don't know what the actual stat was. It was something like that. Because Timber and Skelly had them locked up.
No, I mean, obviously they had a really poor game, so we can't take the sample size of one. But I personally, Jurrien Timber. Can you think of one game this season where a winger has dominated him?
No. He's been legit. He's been elite.
Every single winger he's played against, and especially in the big games, Urian Timber has played well, like has dominated the player. And Lewis Skelly, for I mean, one of the red cards was rescinded unanimously. It was a pathetic red card that should have never been given against Wolves. He got a red card against West Ham, which, yeah, okay, he's young, it happens. But I mean, Lewis Skelly is also defensively, surprisingly, that was the thing that worried me when we first started playing him. Against every single big time winger, Lewis Skelly has also played really well. So, and me personally, I've never rated Rodrigo as highly as the other kind of stars. I've never gotten the hype as much for Rodrigo. I just don't think he scores enough goals and gets assists for him to be considered on the same level as Vinicius or Bellingham.
I agree with you, and I'm surrounded.
And you know what? And when I read shit like, again, disrespect towards Bukayo Saka is a far better player than Rodrigo.
Yeah, that whole narrative needs to be stopped now.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with you.
No. I'm surrounded
by Real Madrid fans who swear Rodrigo. I think he sucks for Brazil, and I think he's meant for Real Madrid.
No, I don't know where you're getting this, Mari, about Real Madrid fans. Real Madrid fans are very lukewarm towards Rodrigo. I remember last season they were booing him.
The ones that are near me, they're like loud, like, we got Vinicius, Rodrigo. I said, no,
Vinicius, okay, Bellingham, okay, but some of the players I think at Real Madrid
Rodrigo,
are quite. I love, for me,
Valverde. I love.
Valverde is amazing.
Can I ask you a question about Lewis Skelly, Stefan? Can I ask you a question about Lewis Skelly? Can I ask you a question about Skelly?
Yeah, ask me.
What does it feel like as an Arsenal fan to see your academy players being given a chance to actually play?
It feels.
For your team? What does it feel like? Because as a Spurs fan, I've got no idea what it feels like to see my academy players given a chance.
It feels. I don't know. Connor can speak for himself, but I feel more pride within the club that I always recognize. Like, one of the things that although I hate Man United, I'll always respect Man U because they also play. They always have, they have this within their DNA where they've always played academy players. They always have great academy players. And if you look at the league titles that Arsenal and Man United have won, it's always been with an influx from their academy. So it just, for me, it's a tribute to the Arsenal heritage when I see Lewis Skelly. It reminds me of, when Jack Wilshere came through, when Fabregas, Ashley Cole. It's always been like this. And even the players that maybe were not good enough in the end but moved on, players like, Maitland-Niles, Nketiah, so many players that played for England also and went through it. For me, it's a source of pride personally that our academy can produce such.
You agree with this statement by Goody?
100%.
You agree with that?
I think we maybe would have seen him, Mari, but not as quick as we did now.
Yeah,
because it's for a fact that we just didn't utilize. And listen, there was a point in time when me and Stefan were going back and forth on Lewis stream saying, "Connie, you just want to see academy kids," but I was like, the bench that we had for a considerable amount of time, I knew for a fact we had at least one player that was better than some of the options we've had on the bench in previous years. And it's just nice now to see some refreshing talent come into the side, and we've actually utilized what we've got, because our academy, listen, it's not on the level of, you say the Chelsea academy, who've always
it is though,
but we have. No, well, listen, I beg to differ there, but we do have.
It is. I'll tell you why it is, because our academy players from Hale End, the most amount of minutes in all the top 5 leagues are Hale End graduates, including more than Ajax, more than Sporting, more than Benfica. The issue where you say that we're not as good as Chelsea is the ability for us to get transfer fees. This is where I agree. But if you look at just the previous 2 championship players of the season, Chuba Akpom and Mavididi, both Hale End graduates. If you look at currently the best young player in Ligue 1, which is Mika Bibirith, Hale End graduate again. We have plenty of players. We just need to improve. We've improved, but still not as good as getting 40 fucking million for Conor Gallagher. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well,
personally for me, in terms of you've named players there before who have been in the academy, but if we look at it in hindsight, you do see a lot more Chelsea players who come out of the academy and have a very successful career, in my opinion, more than Arsenal ones. But I'm not here to slate my fucking academy. That's not the whole point of me saying this. I'm just making a point that it's nice to see our academy come through, because the amount of time, and I wish TJ was here to back me up on this as well, the amount of times we were crying to see some of our academy being used in any way, whether it was an FA Cup second, whatever, third round, whatever, or it was in a game where you can see where our bench is lacking and it's just full of shit, and we can actually use someone from the academy to maybe step up and have a go. In fact, we've seen 2 of them this season who are now going to be main staples for the first team next season. Well, at least on the bench anyway for Wanyeri. If Saka obviously isn't fit, it comes off them, or maybe goes to the 10. Never know. It's nice and refreshing to see something like that. And I'm telling you now, Lewis Skelly, next major tournament for England, he will start. 1,000% he will start.
You know
He will
what,
start.
boys, right?
Sorry, can I say something? Mari, please, can you bring up Jordan's comment at 11:02? Comments like this piss me off. Now, we've signed Odebear. We've signed we brought in what's his name? Tel. We brought in Yang. We brought in Vanna. Moore is 17. He's 17. How do you want this guy to learn and get comfortable with physicality and everything if he's not getting game time? Son has been absolutely stinking out the place the whole season. And somebody comes here and tells me Moore had his chance and he stunk the place out. What are you saying? Bro,
Yeah,
I don't even know what
I agree with you. So what if he did? So what if he did? Like, give him a fucking chance. It's not
he's meant to make mistakes. He's a child.
Yeah, you get one chance to make mistakes. You don't play up to the best of your ability, and you are supposed to get sold or something. Like, I don't understand how we look at the bringing in new.
Our players have been playing. Our players have been playing awfully all season. Every single one of them. Look at us. We're finishing 17th this season. I'm 100% sure we're finishing 17th if we keep this manager. And you want to tell me that he's not. Even if he's playing bad, he's not on the same level as all of them there. Every single one of them there that stink out place every week. Can he possibly do worse than that?
Can I Mike him more?
You're telling me.
You know, Mike him more. Look, comments like Jordan are comments people make when they don't have a clue about youth development. They know none. If there's one thing I know, it's youth development. I know it very well.
It's the stuff.
It's
where
shambolic.
It's
shambolic.
It's hypocritism on another level. Like when. Yeah, I don't know.
Can I just say, Mikey Moore.
Is he 17 still? Sorry, he's 17. Give the kid a break, man.
Man City wanted him. We fought off Man City. That's why he stayed at Spurs. Because by staying at Spurs, we promised him, okay, look, we'll expedite you. Now he stayed at Spurs, and we are fucking it up massively. Mm-hmm. If the situation at Spurs doesn't fix quickly and Moore isn't given minutes or given a proper loan deal where, again, when you go on loan, there's no guarantee you get minutes. I'm telling you guys, he's off. And he will go to a club, and if he plays under any decent coach that can develop him, he has a very high chance. There's no guarantees with kids. You never know until they play regularly. You never know. There's a high chance he could become a very, very exciting player. Now, for that to fulfill, he needs minutes. And if he doesn't get minutes, it won't happen. Any young player, when they're 16 to 21, it's the hardest leap in your development. Getting into an academy, a lot of kids get in if they've got talent. Staying there, you've got to continually progress. But to become pro, that last leap, is the hardest leap of anything. And you need a bit of luck. You know, I think if Arsenal didn't have such a big problem with the wing backs and injuries, maybe Skip would have got that chance.
100%. 100%.
Harry Kane only got the chance because Adebayor was a mercenary and Soldado couldn't hit a barn door. Right? Saka only got the chance because Arsenal were on their knees. You had to do something.
Stefan, can I ask, right? You know, you said that you're happy to see the academy come through, which I think every Arsenal fan is.
You need a bit of luck.
Do you believe, like Stel said, you do need a bit of luck to see the academy come through, though? But do you believe that there is a point where we wanted to see more academy graduates come through? Do you actually believe if we didn't have the situation we were with injuries, we would have seen? Do you think the manager would have given Skelly and Nwaneri more than 2
100%.
minutes.
No, he wouldn't.
I'll tell you why.
Not as much. Not as much.
I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you why,
Connor. Because there is not another manager. Go check since Arteta has taken over that has given academy graduates debuts. Then Arteta.
How many debuts has he given?
So
Two?
he gave a lot. Josh Nichols, but there I think it was the number was 11 or 12. There's not another coach that has given it. The second thing is those two players I don't think are accurate representations of what Stella is calling the typical development phase of 16-21. Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly have played above their age groups, 4 to 5 years above their age groups, especially Ethan Nwaneri, since they have always been earmarked as being a potential superstar within the Arsenal. If you read, what the journalists say and their sources and stuff, they have always been earmarked as the two big stars, Miles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri. So they were always going to be given a pathway
above their level.
Maybe maybe not.
Mari.
Maybe Miles Lewis-Skelly was not earmarked to be given a pathway and to dominate and to cement his place as quickly as he has done. I think Ethan Nwaneri is the more talented out of the two. But
Stefan. This is what they said about Charlie Patino. Look what happened.
No, Charlie Patino never played.
Miguel Aziz.
He was earmarked. I know the coaches at Arsenal in the academy at Hayland and at London Academy.
But I have followed the Arsenal U team. I've watched Ethan Nwaneri made his under 21 debut at the age of 14. Nobody has ever done that. Miles Lewis-Skelly made his under 21 debut.
Sorry. Nwaneri played for the under 21s at 14.
Yeah, ridiculous.
That's not allowed.
No. It was like he broke the record for the youngest ever under 21 player. Both of them.
Stefan, you're only allowed to play 2 years up from your age. So if he's 14, the most he's allowed to play is under 16.
That's impossible.
That's fact. You can't.
Wait.
It's against health and safety. You can't put a 14-year-old with 21.
But I remember he played as a 14-year-old.
They call it safeguarding. It's not health and safety. It's safeguarding.
No.
You're not allowed.
Wait, yes, in the new rules, but 3 or 4 years ago, those rules were not in place. And I remember he played as a.
The rules have been in place for 10 years.
Okay, I'm not like you guys can go check. He scored as a 14-year-old either for the under 18s or for the under 21s. He came in and played 4 years above his age. The next star, guys, by the way,
maybe the under 18s, because 17s and 18s played.
I don't know. He played
21s.
No, but Ethan Nwaneri was the big star stuff. Everybody knew he was going to be a star. He was the best player. He was the best player in his age group. So he was always going to be. He almost left Arsenal. People don't know this. He almost didn't sign a new deal so he can go to Chelsea at the end.
But because you make example of Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri, right?
Yeah.
As far as I remember, Mikey Moore as a 16-year-old was playing with under 18s and smashing it up, right? So also like 2 or 3 levels above, right? So
yeah, true.
I guess what I would say, right, is I like to compare the situation of Mikey Moore and Nwaneri because of the positions, like one is a right winger, the other one is a left winger, and all that stuff, right? But I think when you look at how Nwaneri got into the squad this season, right? As far as I know, like his first proper game was Preston, right? When you played Preston in the cup.
His first start, if I remember, I think was away to Brighton where he scored.
Okay. Because I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but I felt like you guys played like at some like League One or Championship team in
I don't remember
Carabao
or
something like that. But the point is, right? He came on against weaker opposition, smashed it up, right?
Yeah.
And then you as a fan base, some of the guys that aren't as invested started seeing him, right, and started getting hyped up about him, and he got included in the first team, and he was getting like fringe minutes here and there, getting starts here and there, right? Then Saka got injured, and because he got the chance earlier, he was in the right place physically and also like with game time, accustomed with the senior way of playing football, right? Whereas with Mikey Moore, I feel like we've given him the chance. We had a similar situation where we were giving him chances in the Europa League, right? Playing against like Karabakh and other guys, and he was looking great, right? He wasn't as productive as Nwaneri was, but when we were watching him, he looked like a good player, right? But I feel like what we did with him is like he was getting into the team, he was like chomping at the bits, right? He was getting minutes, he was doing great. Then we gave him a Premier. Yeah, but Mari, then we gave him a debut against Crystal Palace away. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah,
I think it was after Alpha, right? And he was
got
average,
bullied.
right?
He got bullied.
He got bullied. Rightfully so. He's like 16 or 17 at the point, right? It's not surprising. But then it suddenly he disappeared, right? I know he had the whole like mononucleosis thing or something.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? He was out for 2 months,
I don't
right?
know. Yeah, 2 or 3 months. Apparently, he was sick or something, right? But I don't know. But after that, he came back and no chances given, right? And not only Odobert comes back from the injury, but we also bring Mattis for whatever the fuck the reason was to bringing this guy instead of giving our own a chance when we already gave him a chance and he was performing well in the league and in the Europa League, right? So for me, that's the frustrating difference between Arsenal and Spurs. One of the frustrating differences between the clubs, right, is how you handled Nwaneri and Luis Skelly and how we handled Mikey Moore. And I'm not saying that Mikey Moore will be the player to nail the spot, right? But it's like he doesn't even get a chance now, right? It's like.
Can I add something to what Michael was saying? Sorry, just to keep the topic on sports. So this manager always comes out and talk about how we have a young team or playing young players. Okay, you're playing Van de Ven, who was brought to start in the team. You're playing the likes of Udogi, who were brought as starters to the team. But the actual young players that we have, how many has he actually genuinely given a chance? Ashley Phillips, never. Ashley Phillips was the only fit centre back we had, and this man played Archie Gray in centre back in place of Ashley Phillips. Like, are we joking? Like, the young players that we have, and Jordan said something about how Moore is not Tottenham Hotspur's level. I'm sorry, but when it comes to taking on a player, I genuinely think he's our best winger when it comes to taking on a player because Brennan Johnson cannot do it. Son has shown me countlessly he can't do it except against very weak opposition. Like that team that wore yellow, I can't even remember them that we played in the Europa League. Who else again? Which other wingers do we have? Kulusevski. Don't even get me started on him on the wings. Who else again? Which other winger do we have? I can't even remember.
Odobert, Timo Werner.
We've not seen him enough. Werner, just send him away. Like Gideon was saying, and the only problem.
See, this is the emotional talk here. I get Spurs are shit, but you can't just play a player for the sake of him being young. If he's not proving it, Arteta is always being adamant in terms of if you're comparing the youth development. Nwaneri for me, Connor might disagree. Nwaneri for me has been overplayed this season because as the season has progressed, he's physically not ready. Still,
Stefan, hear me out. Yeah. Hear me out. Right. In recent years, our under 21s, maybe under 21s, but our under 18s, our under 16s have been winning trophies. Our academy teams.
Just as a context, the under 21s won the league and lost in the cup, and under 18s won the league. So all throughout the levels last year, we won the leagues, right?
And our under 14s and under 15s have won international tournaments. Look, the point I'm trying to make is this: we at Spurs have not seen our teams and players in the team deliver success at youth level in a long, long time. Suddenly, whatever's changed, whatever approach they've taken, it's working. So there is clearly talent in there where at least one or two should be breaking into the first team. When the kids played pre-season, they were better than the first team. Pre-season, they were better. In Europe, it's the kids that have been saving us.
But not the kids.
Wait, Stefan, hear me out. Stefan, hear me out. A couple of times, the kids have come on and saved us. So they are showing what that's called is potential. Pre-season is potential. These European games is potential. They're showing that there's potential. So what you've got to do now is nurture them into that first team. So the argument's going to be, yeah, but how can you when you've got all these other players who are pro and experienced, which I agree. However, when the pro and experience is losing every single fucking week, you can't justify it anymore. You cannot justify these players being given any more chance. Give the kids the chance. And the reason,
especially with Bergvall, look at Bergvall.
Let me wrap it up. So the reason they're not given the chance is because at Spurs, and I've said this to many a young player that I've got into Spurs and kids who I know in the academy who I know the parents, I've said, use Spurs, get your coaching, put the Premier League club on your CV, then go and leave and get a career elsewhere, because they're not going to give it to you at Spurs. Because the biggest problem at Spurs, there is no player pathway. There is no pathway into that first team. They've got a pathway into the academy. They've got a pathway to become a scholar at 16. They've got a pathway to sell the players for money, to invest in other players, or to give the money for hotels and to expand go-karting operations. I don't know, right? Wherever they do the money, they do it. There is no player pathway into the first team. And it's been like that for a very, very, very long time. This isn't just an Ange problem. But Ange, we were told he would be coming in to fix these things. He's made it fucking worse. No, it's got worse.
No,
and we've got the talent. True. Stefan, we've got the talent.
No,
it's not being developed.
I'm not saying you don't, but I think sometimes when clubs are in a mess like Spurs are, people, I think, try and be emotional and say, why don't you play young players? But I'll just give you one example. I think the
No, I'm saying play them, because the first team is shit.
Okay, play them. Okay, yes, true. But
what can you lose?
Playing them in a shit environment, in a toxic environment, can be more damaging, in my opinion, than not playing them in some cases. And the second thing is, for me,
I agree, but there's no pressure in the league anymore, Stefan. There's no pressure in the league.
True.
No one expects anything. The pressure's off.
Okay, so but in terms of
Stefan, we have nothing to lose.
That's true. That's true. But if, let's say, for example, me and Connor used to have this argument about Smith Rowe last season. I wanted him sold last year. Connor was like, why doesn't he play? I'm like, can you imagine how shit he is in training? That we have all these injuries and he still doesn't play Smith Rowe.
Yeah, but Smith Rowe got a chance at Arsenal, Stefan. He got a chance.
Yeah, he got a chance. Yeah,
that's the argument. Our players don't get that. Our players get 45 minutes at Palace, or they get the odd 60 minutes there, and that's it, done. Right? You didn't do it then. It's all over.
And Stefan, can I just do something quickly?
Yeah, go on.
Look at the two players that got chances. Spence got a chance. Look at Spence.
No, Spence didn't get a chance. I disagree with this. I hate this narrative that Ange gave him a chance. Ange was forced to play Spence.
Yes, but he played him. He ended up playing him. He was forced to play Ashley Phillips, and he didn't play him.
Okay, Ashley Phillips, guys, from what I've read, has been pretty shit for Stoke. So I don't think he's good enough for Premier League. So I wouldn't be too kind of, I wish we had seen.
He played actually great at centre back, bro. Come on.
That's
Come
true.
on. But again, if he was shit before, that would make him even more shit, because he will be messed up here. Playing a centre mid, a centre back. When you're the only centre back available.
If you had an 18-year-old centre back in your club,
yeah,
and you had Marino, and you're fucked at centre back, who would you play at centre back, Marino or the 18-year-old? Because that's what happened to us.
It depends, still. I would probably play Marino if I'm being fully honest.
Okay, but imagine Marino was 18 and inexperienced like Gray, only played 1 year.
Oh, okay. Then I would probably play the center back. It depends, still.
Hey, and that's what Teslim's saying. That's what Teslim's saying. That's what Teslim's saying. We chose not to play the center back.
Teslim, you're
we also had Dorrington, by the way.
No, Teslim is being logical, and what Arsene Wenger used to say this. If we have injured players in our positions, if our two right backs in the squad are injured, we're gonna play the youth team right back because he's a right back. I get what Teslim is saying.
Exactly.
However, if in training there's a gap disparity between Archie Gray and the youth team center back, I'm playing Archie Gray still. I'm not going to play.
If you're losing every game with Archie Gray at centre back, then what?
Then I don't know.
Surely you got to give it a chance. Surely you got to give the This is the caveat. I agree with you, Stefan. I agree. But when the results aren't working, you've got to give the kids a chance. They've got to be given the crack. Otherwise, when are you going to do it? When are they ever going to get a chance? They're not. At Spurs, listen, I've said this all along. If you're an academy player at Spurs, unless you're Wayne Rooney and you're going to be amazing from day one, if you're an academy player at Spurs with potential and you just need minutes, you need a coach to develop you, get the fuck out of the club. Just get out. We've destroyed Alfie Devine, Scarlett. We're going to destroy Lancashire. We don't know if these players are going to be good or not. We don't know. My point is,
have you destroyed them? Because Lancashire, I think, moved on to Sheffield. He's barely played, hasn't he?
West Brom, I think.
That's destroying him. He's not getting minutes.
How is that? He's gone to a championship level,
Stefan,
and he's not good enough there.
Stefan, Solanke got injured. Solanke got injured. Stefan, Solanke got injured. Richarlison was injured. We had no striker at the club, so we had a choice. Play Lancashire, who scored against Galatasaray. At least he's shown he can score. Let him play for 6 games until one of the strikers comes back. Or go and sign fucking Tell, play him up front, and he never scores.
Okay.
And he didn't score. He didn't score.
So I completely agree with you that if you lose to Frankfurt, if you lose to Frankfurt and you have the remaining 6 games, if he doesn't play young players, because you're guaranteed not to get relegated pretty much. If he doesn't play young players, I agree with you. That's bullshit. I agree with that. You have nothing. You have nothing to lose. However, I'm going to throw another caveat about this, giving academy players chances. As you said, you're a youth coach. There's never a certainty with any player.
No,
and you know for sure that the gap between under 21 and Premier League level, let alone championship and professional level, is massive. Do you know who the record goal scorer is at under 21 level? I wonder if you guys know.
What,
for any club? Who?
What, in England, abroad?
England. Do you know who the record goal scorer is?
Solanke?
No.
Eddie Nketiah. Has Eddie Nketiah produced what he was his numbers for under 21 level was ridiculous. Go and have a look at his numbers for England and for the under 21s. Has he produced? And Eddie Nketiah, I think, had over 50 games for Arsenal.
Yeah, but that's why, Stefan. But that's why I said to you, there's no guarantee. You don't know until you give him a chance. That's why I said that.
Got that chance.
And Stefan, you're
confirming what I said.
I don't want to talk about the youth anymore because I want to get to because it's huge European games. We talked about Arsenal, Real Madrid. Now I want to get to the biggest game of the year, and that is Spurs Frankfurt.
Oh, fuck me, man.
I know. We got to talk about it. The people in the chat, you probably didn't hear my prediction. Should I be super positive, toxic? No, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be honest. We're going in Thursday. We're going to Germany. It's going to be batshit crazy, nuts. I question the minerals of this team. Going in, we have to talk about it. Is it going to be a massacre, or are we going to at least fight? That's all I'm asking. Fight. I don't believe we are, but I'll start with Michael.
Yeah. Okay, boys. Should I remind you of some of the away results we had this season? We lost 3-2 to Galatasaray. We lost 3-2 to Brighton after being 2-0 up. We lost 4-2 to Liverpool last season. We lost 4-2 to Brighton last season. We lost 4-0 to Newcastle. We lost it was 2-1 to Arsenal, but in a shambolic display. We conceded 3 to Everton in the first half. We conceded 4 to Wolves. This season, we conceded 4 to Chelsea twice at home. We conceded, let me remind
We lost to Palace 1-0 when Palace was shit and they hadn't won all season.
We lost to Ipswich at home. We lost to Leicester at home. We lost to what other shambolic displays.
I
we
would
had,
say
right?
the 1-0 away to, was it AZ Alkmaar, the previous European?
Yeah. 1-0 at Alkmaar where we had no shots on target. The Rangers game where we shithoused the draw against Rangers. What else do we want to? Ferencváros, who we played away.
Galatasaray.
We just about got over the line against Hoffenheim, who are bottom of the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I remember that game. They had, what was it, 25 shots or some shit like that? Ridiculous.
Yeah.
They had a
Wait,
penalty.
I'm
That
trying-
fucking game.
I'm trying to remember.
We just about beat Coventry. Just about beat Tamworth.
Oh yeah, Coventry.
I
don't know how you
Tamworth
beat
away.
how you beat
Tamworth
Coventry
away,
that game.
0-0. 0-0
Tamworth,
against non-league
0-0.
opposition.
Michael, you are a bad fan for stating those facts. We're going to whoop them.
Support your club.
We're going to whoop them 7-0. You're a bad fan.
Support your club, you cunt.
You cunt. You're a bad fan. 7-0. We're beating Texas.
It is what it is, boys. Like, what can I say? I've on a serious. This was serious, right? These were the results we had over the past 2 seasons, right? But on a serious note, when it comes to commentary over this game, I said that the only chance I see us going through is if we take a 2-goal lead to their ground, right? Because also the thing that I said is this team always concedes, right? We don't keep clean sheets, right? And we didn't keep a clean sheet at home. So for me, the only way we go through this tie was if we won home 3-1, right? And we drew 1-1. So now we go to Frankfurt. And honest to God, boys, like look at how we perform, right? Honest to God, do you see us conceding less than 2 goals away?
No. Yeah.
No, exactly,
Frankfurt,
right?
I think
So we
Frankfurt
need
at home, I think they have one of the best records of like all European.
They lost 4 times at home entire season in all competitions.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it, right? I think we concede at least 2 goals. So we need to score at least 2 goals away, right? And the reason why I mentioned all the away games is to prove that we are absolutely fucking dreadful away from home. And we are also dreadful at home, right? But away from home, it's even worse, right? So like, what hope is there to for anything to happen, right? If we go through, fucking brilliant, right? I want us to go through. But do I see us going through? Fuck no.
Okay, what's your Michael? What's your score prediction?
3-1 Frankfurt.
Okay, Teslim, what's your comments on the game?
Okay, so I had to stay away from YouTube for the good of my mental health. I mean, I still watch Spurs games, but I try to like stay away from the club as much as possible.
How can you stay away from YouTube? You've got a YouTube channel.
I've not posted in like a long
Shut down the channel.
I've not posted in like a long time. Like it was taking a toll on me mentally. I had to stay away from
He's
all
a
of
Spurs
it.
YouTuber. He shut his channel.
But like, okay, so where do I start from?
That's jokes.
I have no hope. My season ended in that 4-0 loss to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup semi-final. I'm not joking. Like everybody that says, "Oh, we can win this, we can." My season ended with our Carabao Cup run because that's the only trophy, realistically speaking, that I saw us winning. So I don't even know what to say. If we go through, great. I will celebrate too. I will not even lie. I will celebrate. Good. If we win the trophy, good. I will celebrate. But honestly speaking, with this manager, with Brennan Johnson, with Son, I know Solanke, I don't even know what that guy has been playing. He has been falling down like I don't even know. Every single one of them.
I put my mouth shut.
Teslim, can I quickly tell you one thing? Do you know when I completely gave up when we lost We're 2-0 up at Brighton. We lost 3-2, right? And then after the game, they said to Ange, why didn't you make any subs? And he said, we didn't deserve to win, so I didn't make subs.
He doesn't want to get points. He didn't
deserve to win. I didn't make subs.
Should I tell you something?
I was like, oh my God, that's why we lost you.
I don't say things about this manager anymore. This manager, do you guys remember after Chelsea, when we went on, I think 4 losses in a row, and then we drew against City 3-3. I think after the West Ham result, the man was talking about how he's not at Tottenham to entertain. He wants to win games. If playing entertaining gets us the best result, then good, but he doesn't care about entertainment. But this manager is the same person that starts saying, oh, he just wants to entertain. He says a lot of contradictory things in his press conferences. He comes before that Brighton game, he came and he was saying, oh, he doesn't want to control the game. And you know what's funny? I know these things because I'm a hater. Like I am a hand. I don't even know how to put it. I am a hand hater, or how will I put it? Is it an or a whatever? But I'm a hater, and there's nobody that takes note of the things that you say more than somebody that is a hater. I take note of every single thing he says because this manager is an absolute fraud. And how we have stayed this long, I don't even know, man. I have no hope. I'm sorry, Mari.
Okay, Teslim,
my season has ended.
After this,
same thing. 3-1.
3-1. Jesus Christ. Okay.
I'm not
no hope whatsoever, huh?
I said it on Sunday. I said that this team does not have the minerals or the stones to get a result at Frankfurt. But then again, you can say that about this club. Even when we had Harry Kane, we lost in Europe to forget the name. We lost when another match was in jail.
Did you beat them? Did you beat them in the Champions League group stages? I remember you played Frankfurt 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, we beat them at home 3-2, and I think we drew away 1-1.
Oh, you drew.
I'm talking about when the pressure comes.
Frankfurt.
We both.
Yeah.
No, we did.
Yeah, you did. I remember you beat them at home 2-1. It was in the Champions League group.
Under Conte, still we were in a group with them, with Frankfurt, Sporting, and
Marseille.
Oh yeah. Mate, sorry, I forgot. That was such a shit campaign. I forgot. It was fucking awful.
You qualified still.
and lost.
Because Marseille missed an open goal in the last minute against us.
That's true. I remember that game.
They missed a fucking open goal.
And Højbjerg went on and fucking slapped one from like 30 meters.
Marseille missed
Stefan, you know what's funny?
I don't think we have the minerals. We've never had the minerals to win when it really counts, especially on the road. I honestly think it's going to be 4-1. I think it's going to be a massacre.
4-1?
Yeah, 4-1. 4-1. Yeah. Frankfurt. 4-1 Frankfurt. They won't fire Ange. I think they're going to wait till the end of the season, so we still have to see his face for the last 6 games.
It's who we are, mate.
Yeah, and this is North London's hours. You know, I had brunch soon after the game Sunday. My best friend, who is a huge Arsenal supporter, and he
smart guy. Okay.
He said, clearly, man, I can't even banter you guys, man. No. He's like, why have you guys fired this guy? You guys are so wide open.
Should I tell you why we haven't fired him?
I said, why? We're looking to win. They're keeping him because we're looking to win the Europa League. And he looked at me. He started laughing. He said,
No. Mari, you should have given him the ultimate one-liner. We're still keeping him because he always wins something in the second season.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I should have said that. Yeah. It's gotten to that point where like people rivals are having pity on us, like because they can't believe that we're that bad, and it's we're terrible. So we're going to get pumped 4-1 on the road. I don't think this team fights. We don't know how to. We have a manager that just keeps his hand in his pockets, doesn't say shit. Like it's going to be a massacre.
He does say shit, but to his own fans, not to his players.
Yeah. We got a super chat. I want to go to Stella, and then I'm going to go to Stefan about Thursday's game. A user, big up. I'm worried we will fold like a bug under noise. Yeah, 100%. 100%, A user. Thank you for the super chat. I agree. Still, I know what you said on Sunday, but for those who didn't hear, what is going to happen on Thursday?
3-1, 3-1, 4-1. Tremendous confidence from the Spurs supporters.
I lost confidence months ago.
Well, I think we should have beaten Frankfurt at home. We were the better team. Although Frankfurt had very good attacks that they messed up. They really messed up their attacks. But we had the better chances to win it. We should have won it 3-1, I think. I think Spurs should have won it 3-1. We blew it. I think we absolutely blew it because we're not clinical. And now we're going to go to a stadium that's going to be very hostile. Our away form is dog shit. We're going to go in bad form as well because that Wolves game was shocking. And players look nervous. You know, we're going there nervous. And I think, for me, the game's going to be decided in the first 15 minutes and how Frankfurt play. So if they get a goal in the first 15 minutes, I think we're out. I think it's going to be good night, see you later. If we survive the first 15 minutes, then it's whether or not Frankfurt play different. If Frankfurt play the way they did at our ground, I think we can beat them. But if they have a different game plan at home, then I think they beat us because it felt like they came to White Hart Lane, they sat deep and they tried to play counter-attacking football, classic European away tactics. And they listen, they didn't deserve it, but they pulled it off. They got what they wanted. They got something. Now they take us back to their ground. So it's advantage Frankfurt. And I think now Spurs are going to give them a game. We're not getting battered. Spurs will give them a game. We'll turn up. But there's going to be a bozo moment, isn't there? Someone's going to do something really bozo. Could be anyone. It could be any one of the 11. It could be anyone. It could be him. It could be Madison. It could be Bergvall. It could be Van Den, Udogie, Porro, Solanke. And I think by the end of the game, whether it's extra time or full time, we're going to lose either 2-1 or 3-2. We'll lose by 1 goal. In the end, they'll just knock us out. And I think we're going to look back at the first leg and say, fuck sakes, man, if we took those chances, we would have easily gone through. But because I actually think we're better than Frankfurt, but they've got the better manager. They've got the better manager. And that's what's going to matter. And yeah, I think we're out.
So still, hearing what you just said and knowing that Spurs have played best in transition, be attacking. Did you hear me? Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, can you say it again? Because it was really slow motion.
You broke up there.
I said that.
Yeah.
Knowing that we play better in transition and they're going to be attacking us, don't you think it's going to suit us better if they come at us?
It depends because we play it better when we're in transition, but we're not always effective in transition. Both teams are going to have chances. I think it's going to be very similar to the first game, but the difference is, I don't have confidence in Spurs to hold their nerve in this game. I don't think we're going to hold our nerve, and that's why I say there's going to be bozo moments because that's pressure. That's what pressure does to you. The best players manage pressure, and I just feel now we are going into this game nervous. There's errors in us. We're not in that form we needed to be. It's advantage Frankfurt, but I think we can get at them. I do think we can get at them, but they'll probably knock us out.
What the weirdest thing I've noticed about Spurs in the last month or so is that you start the first 15-20 minutes. You start real slow, man.
Yeah.
Stefan, this is what I mean. That's why I said if they get a goal in the first 15, I think we're out.
It's over.
Yeah.
Score
prediction?
He said 3-2 or 2-1.
Oh, 3-2.
I'll go 3-2. I'll go 3-2. 3-2 to Frankfurt.
I'm gonna, just from watching the Spurs games, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. I don't think you'll be as bad as 4-1. I just think Spurs are they're not programmed to play away from home. And just, as I've always said, is just a complete fraud and completely out of his depth. He's not good enough at this level, and he's proven it. And I just don't think he's going to go into probably the most hostile atmosphere. He's going to go bar maybe Galatasaray. The Eintracht Frankfurt fans are amazing. So it's going to be really, really tough. And they're going to play a completely different style to the way they played you guys in London. I think they're going to be far more on the front foot. They're going to attack you. And Astel said, you're going to try and play out from the back. He's going to know this. The crowd's going to get on top of them. And one of them will screw up, whether it's Van de Ven, Romero, Porro, or Doji.
Vicario.
I just don't see any other way. And I do agree. If they score first and early, you guys completely collapsing. And
you know what the problem is, right? Because Testing said something like spot on, right? I think the way to approach this game is play on the counter, right? I honestly think that it would be wiser to just play the simpler game and kick it long onto fast forwards and try to catch them on the counter and let them actually have the ball, right? And try to soak up pressure.
That's
but
not
the issue is this fucking Dambas will try to dominate them and have 60% possession because he has I don't know, he gets a stiffy when he sees over 60% possession on the stat card. I don't know, this is his issue, right? And we won't play like that, right? We will try to play on the front foot and be progressive and be be attacking mate and all that stuff, right? And that they will catch us on the counter and score, right? Because we will have two center backs back. Porro and Spence Porro and Udogi will be up the pitch because they do what they are asked of by the manager. And what then, right?
Michael, do you know something that's funny, right?
He's not going to play Spence. I guarantee you guys.
He won't start Spence. Yeah, he won't.
Because
Spence isn't his guy. He started him on the weekend, so he wants.
Yes, Spence. I can tell. Spence and Madison. The amount of times I've seen him substitute Madison when you're chasing a game or looking for a goal is, for me, the most confusing and most kind of just.
When Ange got fired, Madison will be singing like a hummingbird. He is going to talk his head.
I don't know. There must be something going on between them. Do I think Madison is a little shit and a diva? Yeah, but he's still your most creative player, especially when you had Kulu injured. And you're taking him off every single time you guys are struggling in the game. He takes off Madison guaranteed in the 70th minute, 65th, 70th minute,
and brings on fucking Pape Sarr.
But you guys,
and Pape Sarr
why?
Not start. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you know why he does that, right? Because of what I said earlier. He doesn't think that we play with a 6, 8, and a 10. For him, all three midfielders are the same. This is how dumb this manager is, right? He said it himself. He doesn't play with a 6, 8, and a 10. He plays with midfielders. What the fuck does that mean? No manager does that. All managers have 6. Yeah. Wait, so this is why I think he takes off Maddison, right? Because he sees that Maddison loses energy in the game and he wants to bring on energy, but doesn't think about the fact that Maddison is the creative player and Pape Sarr is good at running, right? With all due respect to Pape Sarr, I don't think he's that part of a player, but this is how this manager sees the game, which is ridiculous for me.
I'm gonna tell you guys why I was so out on him, not because I was a hater. Look, I've had because I'm a sports junkie. I watch all kinds of sports, and there a lot of things are very you can transition him into each game. I watched an interview of his. I think he was after the Luton 1-0. I remember you guys won 1-0, but Luton missed quite a few chances. And he came out, and I'll never forget this. And I knew, after this interview, I knew this guy's full of shit. He's going to go to shit. Was when he said that he doesn't change for any team, no matter what. The moment in any league, the NFL even has a very famous saying, there is no coach and no player better or smarter than the NFL. They eventually will figure you out. They will have a look at your system. They have enough tape, and they will figure out. The best coaches adapt. The moment I heard him say that he does not care about the opponent and that they play only one way, and in terms of they'll always play the same way, I knew this guy was completely toast. That's why I was. It wasn't apart from the gameplay and the amount of chances you can see it. But when somebody thinks that his method is going to outsmart the Premier League and the managers itself, and that it can encompass everything, that you don't need to change anything ever, that's when I knew this guy was completely finished. And exactly his own stubbornness and his lack of adaptability has proven to be the main reason for why you guys are where you are now. So that's why I was so negative from him early on, because I watched. I think it was after the Luton game where you won.
Yeah. And,
Do you know something that's funny? Okay, if you go back many months ago when I first said we're not winning the Europa, it's not happening. The reason I gave was we're going to come up against that one team that we don't know too much about, and they're going to tactically do a number on us, and we're going to come out of that game saying, what the fuck just happened? And they're going to pull our pants down when we least expect it. And I said, I don't know if it's going to be in the quarters, the semis, the finals, but at some point, that one manager, that one team is going to stun us. And I still believe that. And do you know what? If we beat Frankfurt and we go through, and anything's possible, football's funny like that. That Bodo Glimt team is exactly what I was talking about. I don't know who they are. I've never heard of them.
That manager still?
Yeah.
You should be looking at that coach, by the way. You really
Stefan, do you know what?
We've done the Ange Postecoglou experiment.
Their football...
I know he's much better than Ange.
Their football is really, really good.
No.
They're a bunch. 1 minute. They're a bunch of unknowns. No one really knows much about them, and they're quietly going away, just picking everyone off. They took Lazio apart at their ground. If they go through against Lazio, that second leg, if we play Bodo Glimt, that second leg is at their home ground on that plastic pitch. I'm telling you, that's the team that's going to stun us, and we say, what the fuck just happened to us? I think that's going to be the game. I really think that's going to be the one. If we go through, we've got to get past Frankfurt.
No, I was going to say, if we were going to have a segment for potential manager choices out of the box, this Bodo Glimt team, I personally, because they were in the Europa League 2 years ago with this coach. They played in the same way. Go have a look at the number of players that have moved from Bodo Glimt to pretty good teams. They keep developing good players. They play great football, exactly the football that you guys like. The coach is he's a very kind of just a nice guy because, he's Scandinavian. So he's not.
If he's a nice guy, he's finished at Spurs. He's finished.
Okay. No, but in terms of what he's built at Bodo Glimt with the resources that he has and the way they play, they beat, I don't know if people remember, they beat Mourinho's Roma 6-0
6-1, right?
2 years ago. They have other big victories also, if I'm not mistaken, especially at home. They're last season, I think they got to the last 16 again to the Europa League, always overperforming. So they have a very, very good coach who I think should be moving to a big league and could be a very good appointment, for an out of the box appointment. But it's just I've never seen, honestly, Stel, after this season, Ange Postecoglou can easily go based on value of money, based on squad value, based on underperformance compared to your previous season, one of the worst managers that has ever been in the Premier League, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was about to say that. If we lose,
and I'm not being a hater,
23 games
for the money we've spent. For the money we've spent.
No, if we lose 23 games, because I actually looked into it. Out of the big six, because when a manager does that bad, They're already fired. So, because we're giving him all this time, stats wise, he will be the worst in the Premier League era, but easily the worst manager out of the big six. He will be the worst
But
in the big six.
guys, I have a more just to finish. I have a more cynical take on why Levy has kept him. I don't think Levy has kept him as a shield for criticism because the protests have never been larger than under Ange. I think Levy has kept him because I've noticed a little bit of a narcissistic tendency from Levy in his fucking letters to fans that are beyond ridiculous, where he kind of pretty much throws pot shots at the fans about the amount of money they've been spending and stuff like this. I think Levy is doing it from a narcissist standpoint in which he's saying, you guys before used to complain about me being so trigger happy. Now, fuck you. I'm going to keep this guy until you guys are basically begging me to fire him. And now see what happens when I'm not trigger happy. I personally think that he's doing this on purpose. I'm going to be honest.
Well,
I think he's doing it as like,
but Stefan, then he's harming the business that he owns because by not getting into the Champions League or back in Europe, he's losing millions, insane money. It's going to cost him. This will cost him.
No,
And Levy would never do anything that will cost him. Stefan, should I tell you why he hasn't sacked him? Should I tell you the real reason? Aside from this, okay, aside from Ange being a shield, it's not just about that. You guys have to remember how we got to Ange as the manager in the first place. Nobody wanted the Spurs job. Nobody wanted it. And we've been sacking managers. Now, if we keep Ange till the end of the season and you want to go after another manager, you tell them, okay, we've been sacking managers. We finally gave one a chance. We would give you a chance. This one was clearly not good enough. He's the not London Ten Hag. He's Steven Gerrard or whatever. We saw what Emery was able to do with Villa, a club that were in relegation battling relegation when Gerrard was there. You come here and do magic, do something good with this crop of players because these crop of players are not bad players. I don't think they're the best things in sliced bread, but they're not as bad as this manager makes them seem. So I think that's why it's about the next person. It's not necessarily about Ange. If it was about Ange, he would have been gone ages ago. I think he's thinking far. It's not just about this season. This season, Ange acts as a shield for him, and he gets to pitch the Kine to the next person. Because Iraola, everybody has seen Iraola. If he's going to come to Spurs, he's not going to come mid-season. Glasner, none of them are going to come mid-season. So they need to show that, okay, we finally are ready to keep a manager and stick with you. So you can sort of sell that to the next manager. Because, like I said, nobody wanted the Spurs job, which is why we ended up with Nuno in the first place. And then we went to splatter all that cash.
Honestly, Teslim, after this managerial, disaster that is, Scott Munn, the worst decision that Levy has ever made, the guy that supposedly recommended Ange, he's gonna get fired. I guarantee you this. If Ange gets fired, he'll go.
I hope he does.
Well, we've got fucking Vinay now, haven't we? We've got your
you've got the Arsenal guy who, I'm gonna be honest, did a really good job when it comes to specifically fan engagement. I'll give him credit, and women's football. He was very influential, but on the commercial side, Arsenal have not been as good as Liverpool or Chelsea, which for me especially Chelsea, is a disgrace. So hopefully he can provide some change, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't like this. I don't like Spurs being fucking 15th. It's boring. I want there to be a rivalry. Right now,
that's what
there isn't one.
That's what my best friend says.
Yeah, there is someone. Currently there is. It's not. I don't even banter you guys. Like back 2 years ago, we used to scream at each other, me and Stel. We don't do this anymore because it's boring now. Like, Spurs are so shit that it's beyond the joke.
I've surrendered, bro. I've surrendered. I've waved white.
That's what I mean, and I hope that you can find a manager. I think we should do a final segment before we finish the podcast on the potential managers for Spurs.
Stefan, do you know what though, man? I've got to go, Murray. I've got to go. So I'll just say this: we have to get rid of Ange because it's a disaster. We've got to get rid of Munn and Lange because they're a disaster. We need a new football director, head scout. We need that. We need a new manager, but there's only so much they're going to do. They'll get us maybe back into the top 4 to a semi-final of a cup, but then to get it over to the next line, we need a new chairman. So that even if we get a new manager, and we must, because we'll get relegated with Ange, even if we get a new manager, we'll get back to maybe the Conte Poch top 4 kind of thing, but we won't go beyond that because this chairman doesn't want it. So we'll be fucked to get whatever we do. We'll be fucked again in 2 years, but the fuck won't be as hard.
Alex,
it'll be
wait, because
it'll be like soft porn. It'll be soft porn instead of hard.
No,
porn.
I just want to reply to Alexander LGY the comment about being their fathers. Pochettino never won at the Emirates, Alex. Arsenal won FA Cups. You didn't win even then you weren't.
He beat you in the Carabao Cup 2-0.
Okay, with Granit Xhaka at center back, but he never won against Arsenal in the league.
He drew.
He never won there, and he got whooped at the end a couple of times.
I don't think you ever beat Spurs at White Hart Lane when Poch was manager.
We did, but it was in the FA Cup, I think. 2-1.
Oh, so same as us. So you never beat us in the league either.
Yes,
we did, but
that was proper rivalry, right? That was proper, like, you know.
Yeah, that was a proper like rivalry.
Good,
that meant something. Now it's like if next season.
Now you're very good and we're very shit.
Yeah, no. Now next season, like Arsenal are gonna did they sign the attacking players that they're linked to going to White Hart Lane? Like I'm not like we should easily beat you. Like we're not very good.
To answer your question,
Murray, let me say goodnight. Listen, big up to you guys, everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here. Pray to God, man. Let's pray. Let's pray Thursday a miracle happens, man.
Stefan, please pray for Spurs too. We need it.
Pray for #pray for.
Anyway, come on, Real Madrid, please, Real Madrid, please.
And the thing is, I can't stand Real Madrid. So that tie has been like, but to answer Stefan's question,
fuck Barca.
Huh?
Fuck Barca. I hate Barcelona.
Don't say that.
But even though Stoichkov played for Barcelona, I've never liked Barca.
But I will say this, and mine is very easy. Because of what Levy said, we're not really going to bring in anybody in. The person we'll probably only sell is Romero. And so the harsh reality is that Brennan Johnson will be here. Sarr will be here. Basuma will be here. A lot of players.
They will sell Basuma.
Yeah, I hope so. But my next manager has to be any competent manager that can get a tune out of these players. I don't care who it is.
Who do you want?
If it's Glasner, any coach that can get a tune.
Who do you want? Who do you want?
Guys, I've already said my pick, and it's you know what the funniest part was, Teslim? When they hired Ange. You know what? I'm going to rename myself Stefan the Oracle. I'm going to be serious. I really should change my name. When they hired Ange, I told Mari on a stream, and Steve was there, Steve Machala. I said, why aren't they looking at Oliver Glasner, who is free from a job, who just got fired from Frankfurt? He won a German Cup, and he won a Europa League, and he has developed numerous good young players. Everybody then, Teslim, laughed at me. They said Glasner isn't good enough. Glasner isn't, he's not managed a big enough club. I'm like, Frankfurt is a massive club, like heritage-wise. They said this, and you know what the funniest part now is? Now Glasner is like, if you ask 10 Spurs fans, I would say probably at least 3 or 4 say Glasner is the number 1 choice now, including
number 1.
So it's hilarious. Guys, tomorrow I'm gonna draw some numbers in the lottery tomorrow because I've been feeling really, really lucky right now after everything has gone down, predictions wise. So yeah, thank you guys. But
The EPL.
I personally don't think it should be Glasner.
You were
I
wrong.
think wait, just to finish. I think the thing you guys need to decide is whether to have what I call a bridge manager, which is he comes in for 2 or 3 years, makes you competitive again, stabilizes your club, builds a good foundation of young players and a good core of a team, and then passes it on to a manager that can maybe elevate that team for 2 to 3 years. That for me could be Glasner, because that's what Glasner for me is the German Emery. Maximizes his resources, develops young players, and is always tactically on point. He's an extremely good coach. If I was you guys, I would hire a transformational manager. And by transformational, I mean someone that can come in, that has the charisma to deal in the job, that has the ability to deal with not as many resources as their rivals. And there is only one candidate that has greatly exceeded this every year, competing with one of the smallest budgets every year.
Thomas Frank.
And that is Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank, in my opinion, is easily the best coach that you can get on the market. He has a £10 million release clause. You can easily get him. He has charisma. He has loyalty. He's Scandinavian. Great. Again, another positive. He's not an asshole. He's developed numerous young players for Brentford. Is very tactically astute. And if you just read and look at interviews with every player that has played under him, every player loves him. I have not read one interview where they have questioned his leadership or anything. And I also watch his press conferences, something that for me, I know it sounds very superficial and kind of basic, but I watched Erik ten Hag's first press conference and I knew this guy was not a Man United manager. He just doesn't have the aura. Thomas Frank has the charisma. He just has it. And I think he should be easily your number one choice. Iriola, guys, I'm completely out. This football is Ange ball.
It's the same. It's the same shit, you know.
Same
Stefan,
shit.
Stefan, that's how you are. I don't want Frank.
Why?
And it's a very simple reason. We always beat Brentford under Ange. And it concerns me.
Weren't you not able to beat Brentford at their ground for like their first 3 years in the Premier League?
We actually beat them
this season,
under
right?
Ange.
Yeah,
Under Ange, we always beat them.
Yeah, but
okay, but
and that's concerning.
Tezin, that like, sorry, but they've beaten plenty of teams that we didn't, right? So
I don't think you get it. Majority of the time is always from behind. Everybody knows how Ange is going to play every week. If you can't figure out how to beat Ange, don't you think that's concerning?
Tezin, but Brentford shut on Chelsea on Stamford Bridge 3 seasons in a row. Right?
No, Chelsea.
And we can
They've always been beating Chelsea. They've always been beating Chelsea even before.
And we've been beating them, right? So, like, I don't think.
How can you take?
It reflects on the quality of the manager, right?
Yeah. How can you? But
I get what you're saying, but
wait. Sorry, Tesla. But by that logic, then you should hire Ruud van Nistelrooy because he beat you at your ground.
Yeah. I want Glasner.
Why? Why do you guys suddenly want Glasner more than Frank?
Because we have center backs that are good. Majority of our center backs would fit in a back three. We have two of the best wing backs in the league.
Oof. Call with that statement. Okay. I again,
you don't think so?
I think they would be good.
Which other wing backs are better than them?
Which other wing backs are better than your wing backs?
Arsenal's wing backs, Liverpool's wing backs.
Wing backs.
Yeah, wing backs. Like
Trent. Okay.
For me,
Vadio.
For me, left wing back, the
Herkes would be better as a wing back.
The Fulham.
To be fair, we haven't seen Udogie as a wing back. You know that, right?
Yeah, but
Robinson, I think his name is.
Yeah, Robinson. Yeah. Also, like to answer your question, right? Because for me personally, after Conte sacked himself, right? I said that my dream coach signing in the summer would be Glasner, right? But back then, right? Because my thinking was that we committed to building a back three team, right? We bought wing backs, and for me the thinking was that we should go out there and find like not young, not in terms of like age, but young in terms of like freshness, right? We should find a fresh manager that plays a back three system. So my two top candidates at that point, judging by their performance with their teams, were Glasner and Amorim, right? Like at that point, we didn't see Amorim in United, right? So there was no context of that, right? But for me, Glasner was the pick because he won the Europa League with Frankfurt, right? And he had, and I think he went far in DFB Pokal. I'm not sure if he even won it, right?
No, he won. He won a German Cup.
He won a German Cup
and he won a Europa League.
Yeah. So the way I was looking at it, I thought we were building a back three team, so Glasner was the choice, right? And I still think this team suits a back three system. So for me, Frank and Glasner, it's like Glasner here and Frank here. I just prefer Glasner a bit due to the fact that he has won trophies, right? So he kind of like fills me with more confidence, and I think it would also like plenty of like English media are raving about Glasner and the job he's doing at Crystal Palace and all that stuff. So for an average fan, I think it would be a better signing, right, as a manager. But honestly, I think we are at the point where like anyone is better than Ange Postecoglou at this point, right? And I think there are plenty of managers in Spanish league, German league, Italian league, that not the managers of Borussias and Bayerns and Atleticos, but the managers of like Villarreal, Osasuna, Stuttgart, Mainz, clubs like that, right? That we could sign easily because we can offer 5 times the money they are on, and they are doing a really solid job with their respective teams, right? And for me, like I don't watch all of these teams, I don't know all of these managers, but for me, it's the job of the club to find a guy that's better than Ange, which is not hard, but the guy that they will be satisfied with, right? I personally would choose Glasner, but if they went with, I don't know, I think Hones is the Stuttgart's manager name. If they went with him, I would be okay.
Very good.
I would be completely okay with it, right? There are plenty of managers in Italy like Palladino and other managers.
I wouldn't go.
Names escape
I'm
me,
I'm very negative on Italian coaches.
But you get the point, right? I still think they would be better. But of course,
they
would be better than Ange because it's not hard to be better than Ange, right? But I just want to highlight. I'm not anti Glasner because people in the chat.
Yeah. I'm like 1A Frank and 1B Glasner, slightly below. I just think they're both. If you look at their track record,
who's your third option for Spurs?
Third option, I would say, I'm also looking at realistic options. Like for me, I would say the most realistic option and my third option would be Marco Silva. I think he's going to leave Fulham. I think he's going to leave Fulham. I think he's going to be available at the end of the season. And I think because he won't have a release clause like the other two, Glasner, I know Frank's release clause, I think, is around, 10, 11 million. So it's quite salty. Glasner's, I also think he has a release clause from what I've read. But I just think Marcus Silva makes sense for a bridge coach in terms of maybe Levy thinks we have, but I really don't rate. I think he's a very good coach, but I wouldn't hire him personally. I really wasn't impressed with his conduct at Watford and at Everton. I think, and at Fulham also. He's extremely disloyal, maybe call it agent work, but every single year, if he doesn't get what he wants, I don't know if you guys have noticed, maybe you don't follow Fulham or Everton, but I remember whenever he didn't get the player or the budget that he expected, he immediately started he immediately started leaking and like saying that he might leave. His agent started, releasing in the papers that he was going to move to Saudi 2 years in a row whilst he was at Fulham. There were reports that he wasn't going to stay at Fulham, that he was going to leave also. So I just don't think he's the type of coach that will provide the stability needed for Spurs. And I hope Spurs don't hire him, because at the first sign of trouble where he doesn't get what he wants, which is 100% guaranteed under Levy. He doesn't get what he was promised, which every coach that has happened to, he will start throwing a hissy fit in press conferences. He will start leaking stuff to the media about him potentially leaving. I just think Thomas Frank, I'm just so impressed by him, as a professional. Like, he's just such a nice guy. Like, when you watch press conferences and stuff, and him and Glasner have the same track record. If you look at Glasner's young players that he developed at Frankfurt that moved on to bigger and better things, you look at Andre Silva, Luka Jovic, Evan Ndika at Frankfurt. There were a number of big-time players that developed under him. Sebastian Haller, who moved to West Ham, although he didn't work out, he still made himself a career. And then you look at also at Thomas Frank. You look at some of the Brentford players, David Raya. You look at Embuemo, Ivan Toney. So many good young players that he has developed. I just think that they're both really, really good hires. And
you know what, Stefan, right? Honestly, after 2 years of this absolutely dreadful manager, excluding the first 10 games, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, what I want is a guy to come in and just play simple football, not in terms of just lamping it, up the pitch and stuff, right? But I just want a guy that looks at the squad, looks at the players, sees guys that can be wing backs and plays them as wing backs, sees guys that can be inverted wingers and plays them that way, right? Sees Maddison as a number 10 and plays him as a number 10, right? I just want a manager to play good, simple,
good
attacking football, right? I just want
structure.
I just want to see structure. I just want to enjoy my team play. And if we get beaten because the other team is better, fair enough, right? I've always said this, right? When I see us play against an opposition and I see us being structurally well set up, which was like 2 years ago, right? But under Conte, for example, when I saw us structurally, we were properly set up and we were doing the right things, right? And then Dyer had a bozo moment and passed to Salah and he went on and scored and we lost 2-1 to Liverpool, right? I was furious with a player, but overall I could see a structure, I could see a plan, I could see something to hang my hopes on, right? Whereas with this guy, I've said it, right? I think the only two players that on the pitch that are played the way they should be are the two center backs, right? Because they defend and they play in a high line, fair enough, but they defend, right? They are center backs and the goalkeeper, right? I think the wing backs are played wrong. I think the wingers are played wrong. We have a target man striker who drops deep. We have Maddison, who is a 10, and we play him as a deep lying playmaker. You have Bissouma, who is supposed to be a 6, but we play him as like a 8/6/7/9. Like nobody on this team is played the way they should be. I just want a manager to come in and play simple, like structured tactics, and I will be happy with that, right? And won't be worse than Ange Postecoglou, right? So my expectations for the next season are none. Just I want to see progression from where we are here, which is not hard to do, right? I bet you the four of us could probably set up the Spurs next season to play better than what we are doing under Ange. If nobody else wanted to follow us, right?
I totally agree with you. I just want to answer Lord Rodney Trotter. So I'm negative because I don't rate Marco Silva as highly as the others. Yes, go do a little research on his time at Watford and at Everton and at Fulham. Go have a look. You guys, a lot of the fans, the Spurs fan base turned on Mourinho and Conte because he kept talking down Spurs at press conferences. He kept refusing to commit his future. Well, then get ready for that with Marco Silva, because that's what he has done at his previous 3 clubs. So I don't understand how, like, I'm trying to choose a cultural fit for Spurs currently. It's very difficult, but that's just my opinion. It's not the fact that I don't rate Marco Silva doesn't mean that I think he's really good secretly. I don't. I don't think he's as good as the other two coaches.
Boys, I have to go. It's really late here. Sorry, I
Yeah.
overstayed my welcome. So cheers,
Same with
guys.
us.
Thanks for the show. Yeah, see you. Bye bye.
Same with me, Mahari. I have to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna just end off with here saying that I just want a manager not only to have the structure that we talked about, but also can get a tune out of these players. Coach, right? We talked about the youth, Bergvall, Gray, Mikey Moore, even Brendan Johnson. I don't rate him. Like some of these players, to get a tune out of these players, to because our players are it's a disaster. And I think we need a true coach to come in, and because we're not going to be buying players like people think that we are. So we're going to really need someone to work with what we have. And that's all I ask, to have a manager that can truly work with what we have and put players in a position to be good, to excel, whatever that is. Well, on that, go ahead.
I just want to answer, Alexander. I don't know what you've been reading. He is a Conte, Jose. Go read about his history at Watford and at Everton. At Watford, he did really well. Then Everton came calling, and he immediately left him. At Everton, he started really well, from what I remember, and then he started getting linked to big jobs and didn't commit himself at a number of press conferences. And his players pretty much down tools because their manager refused to commit himself to the club after the first sign of interest from the big clubs. I don't know what you've been reading about Marco Silva, that he's like Ange. He's the opposite of Ange. He's the opposite of a company and a yes man. Go have a read. Go see even with Fulham, every single summer he is linked with Saudi Arabia, and then he's probably going to leave, and then suddenly they make a few transfers and he stays. So I don't know what I don't know where where you're getting your facts, but they're it's not true that he's like Ange. He is the complete opposite of Ange. He's not Conte. He doesn't have the rep or the success to be a mercenary like Conte, but he does do it. So that's just, I completely agree with you, Mari. You need a coach. I want Spurs to be better. I don't want them to be 16th and be like the derby, to have pretty much like the derby that we won 2-1 at the Emirates was kind of like how much are Arsenal gonna beat Spurs by? That's how it felt, that derby. Like it was the least enthralling, and like it was still a derby, but there was so little in it because Spurs were just miles behind us. They were pretty much in nothing in the league. So I don't want Spurs to be crap. That's just, that's just my opinion. Like, I prefer Spurs to be close to Arsenal. Of course, not to be better, but close at least. Not be where Wolves are. That's just my opinion.
The rivalry has to be much, much, much better, and it will improve as soon as we get that scrub that is Ange out of our club. And what crossed the line, the ear cupping. You really crossed the line, but that was uncalled for, and
his performances alone crossed the line. As a manager, he crossed the line with that.
I know. Just the final thing on this, I don't understand what people are questioning about whether they should give him time. The guy's on course to lose the most amount of league games since you got relegated. He could lose more because when you got relegated, from what I understand, you lost 20 league games. You're already on 7. You're already on 17. You could easily lose because I know you have away to Anfield, away to West Ham. Which you don't usually perform well there. They're always up for that game. You could, and then you have, I think, home games against Forest and Brighton.
3 losses.
Yeah, which, I mean, Forest really good away from home. Brighton always play well against you guys. You beat them usually, but it's always a really tough and close game. So I don't know what people are questioning. The moment he gets out of Europa League, he should be left on the fucking tarmac.
Stefan,
should be left.
Stefan is an agenda. Is an agenda. There are certain people that are more likable, and the more likable you are, and the more liked you are by the media, the more people support you. The media haven't been on Angie's back. Conte was third. Before we drew that game 3-3 against Southampton, we're third on the table. And people were calling for his head. People were
No,
calling
the
for him to be
media.
sacked.
I compare Teslam to Klopp. Klopp. There's never been a more unpleasant person to the media than Klopp. He's called reporters fat. He's given excuses like the length of the grass and fucking what was it? The wind as like excuses for Liverpool losses. But the press always ignored it because they loved him. I never understood why. He was always so rude to the press after every loss. Angie's exactly the same, but they like the guy. I don't understand.
It's strange.
Exactly. So they will always defend him. It's as simple as that.
But I like the guy. I'm like, what's to like? He's
he's a prick. Every time he loses, he's the most arrogant, obnoxious prick at every interview. And Arteta and Ten Hag, for example, on the other hand, they get like Ten Hag especially. I've never seen a coach get so much more shit than Ten Hag. Like the guy says one wrong word and he gets absolutely eviscerated in the media. I've never seen such a media campaign. I never understood. Don't get me wrong. Ten Hag wasn't the most charismatic, a bit stiff, but the media hated Ten Hag. Arteta the same. Arteta complains about the ref. It's a disgrace that he complains about the ref. It's a disgrace. Klopp goes and fucking shoves his face and pushes and shoves a ref. Doesn't get anything. Doesn't even get doesn't even get a warning from the FA.
Who they are, mate. It's who they are.
Yeah, but it's who they are. But let's see, guys. Hopefully tomorrow Arsenal win and you guys lose on Thursday. So
Auto jobs incoming. On that note, we are out. Guys, check out the post game on Thursday. If a miracle happens, 2 miracles happen. Us winning and Arsenal losing, then it's a great day.
If that happens, you will not hear the end of it.
Guys, you do realize if we do lose, we're losing to the 15-time holders, huh? It's not some dead team.
That is true. That is true.
Like, I get it. If we lose, we're joking, but we're still losing to Real Madrid, huh? It's not some like, banter team.
Yeah, that is
Don't forget that.
On that note, we are out. Check out the stream on Thursday. Levy out.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Man out.
Levy out.
Everybody out. Ange out.
Bye.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.